Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News. In this video, I want to walk you through our recent trip to Melbourne. Plenty of meetings with some interesting startups, government-backed initiatives, exchanges, incubators. This is the sort of thing that we see behind the scenes every day, and it gives us strong conviction that the blockchain space is just going to explode in the coming years. So 10 meetings in under 10 minutes. Let's dive in and have a look at what an average day looks like for us. So I'm up at 5 a.m. to catch an early flight over to Melbourne to meet up with James, who's head of business development. Big hearty breakfast. I love Melbourne, the coffee culture, smashed avocado, whatever floats your boat. But big breakfast before a big day of meetings. So first meeting we had was with Ledgerium. Now these guys are doing accounting software for the blockchain, and a lot of these really good software as a service companies recognize that they don't really need a token or an ICO, and it's great to have these conversations with them about maybe going down the path of a security token offering now to offer equity in the company. But these guys with plenty of experience in their industries, we want to have them on the channel and talk to them about the experience they've had with developing blockchain solutions and trying to pitch it to some of these people where their face just glazes over and they've never heard of blockchain and so on. So interesting companies. We're going to have a lot of these guests on the channel in the future. Next up, we met up with Paul McNamara, who's an old friend of mine. He's run plenty of businesses. He mentors people like Tim Payne, captain of the Australian cricket team. His wife, Katie, works at IBM, and they've definitely got a big blockchain strategy that they're working on. So great person to talk to, all about business development, personal development. We're always striving to be better and provide a better experience for you guys as well. So I always love catching up with people that are more experienced than you to pass on that wisdom. Next up, we've got Cointree, another exchange that has been around for a while now. They've recently partnered with the company and they want to break into that space of allowing you to pay bills and so on as well. But all these exchanges are coming to us and saying, what do users want? How can we provide a better experience? It's so saturated now with exchanges, and that's going to be great for you guys in the next 12 to 18 months as all these exchanges look to add more features and give you a better user experience. So we look forward to doing more educational stuff with Cointree and plenty of other exchanges as well. Next up, time for a lunch break. Again, you can head out in Melbourne and get some awesome food at just about any little alleyway you go down these days. And I prefer to have lunch with these clients that we meet. I'd much rather have a coffee, a meal, or a beer and get to know people. It's sort of how a lot of Asian business is done, but maybe not in Australia where everyone's wearing their shirt and ties. Obviously, we're not ones for that get up. I'll be repping my crypto shirt. But it's always great to talk to these people in a more casual environment. So Helio are a lending company, and we'll have them on the channel. We're going to try and get you guys a great deal to break into this lending space to unlock the value of your crypto. There's some estimates that Aussies own $20 billion worth of crypto. Now, if they can start to lend against those assets, because at the moment, if I walk into a bank, they don't recognize my crypto. I can't borrow against that. Now, if you can borrow against your crypto, you can start to unlock capital. It doesn't lock in a taxable event, with buying and selling. So there's all sorts of wonderful things that happen once we can start to borrow against our crypto. As I said, we'll have these guys on the channel soon because Salt Lending and ETHLend, they haven't really broken into countries like Australia just yet. And it's those licensing arrangements that we're going to start to see in the next 12 months. Next up, we're off to RMIT. These guys were doing some awesome research, macro stuff. How is blockchain going to disrupt entire industries, social movements, and so on? So that research was fascinating. We're going to have them on the channel soon, but they work with some of these Australian startups that are trying to disrupt these industries, agriculture, voting, and so on. You guys know who I'm talking about, and it's great to see all the way from this big picture research down to the individual projects that these guys are sort of collaborating. Next up, we've got Concrete. So this was an interesting startup trying to fractionalize ownership of housing. There's plenty of projects doing this in Australia, and I might cover them all at some stage. But working with Collective Campus, which is another incubator in Melbourne that have developed hundreds of startups, and they're starting to see some very exciting blockchain startups that want to go down the path of security token offerings. That leads us to our next point, where we headed down to Stone and Chalk. This is a huge sort of incubator shared workspace in Melbourne. The Blockchain Centre have just moved there. NEM are now based there as well. And this is where we held our security tokens event. Now, we always have a sort of early get together for our members in our premium section to get to know them. Anyone in our members group knows that it's like family. So getting to have a beer and a feed and getting to know the guys in person is always fantastic. And then the public rolls up. We had about 150, maybe 200 people by the end of the night to talk about security tokens. Now, Rick Klink has just come back from Malta, where he's setting up the Malta exchange for security tokens. Other people there, you might know John. He's working with regulation and familiar with ASIC, all that side of things. Jason from NEM, and they're developing those mosaics to really make it easy for people to create their own projects and tokens. And Prash from Caleb and Brown. So it's been a pretty big day at this stage. Go home, get some dumplings, eat in the hotel room. That's always fun. But then I always try and do extra videos for our members in our premium service every night as well. So we've got hundreds of extra videos, and when I'm on tour, I love to check in every night and let members know what's been happening. So the next day, we're off to Gary Vee. Now, if you don't know Gary Vee, I recommend checking out some of his work about social media and disruption and the power that influencers are going to have. The move away from TV and traditional media and website advertising is going to be very disruptive. So that was a full day of speakers. We went out for lunch. It was Ben's 20th birthday. So for you, those of you that don't know, Ben's a very smart guy, high school dropout, and I think you hear these stories about those people that dropped out of high school because they were too smart and had good ideas. So Ben's in charge of sort of social media and a few other aspects of Nuggets News. I used to say he's the smartest teenager I know, but now he's 20. So happy birthday, Ben. Then we're back to Gary Vaynerchuk. There were some good speakers that afternoon, and I like his theory about the clouds and the dirt. So in crypto, it's no different. People talk about Lambos and getting rich, but the dirty stuff is the hard work and the research. For us, it's running our group and doing all the reading and so on to bring you the best content in the news. So everyone wants the flashy stuff. No one wants to get down and dirty. He's all about teaching people how to make small income and doing jobs that other people don't want to do. Being creative, leveraging social media, and we're certainly obviously trying to do that with our business. Ran into Troy from Crypto for Blokes there, which is great. I know a lot of you guys are big fans of Troy and what he does for the community as well. So always good to put a face to the name to a lot of these people that we only ever meet online. And then we're out for dinner with our friends from Caleb and Brown. So most of you have used Caleb and Brown. I've always had a great user experience for buying and selling crypto. But again, they want to branch out. They want to bring in the next wave of people. So high net worth individuals that know nothing can ring up the phone and learn how to buy, how to store it safely, a bit of education. And we want to work with people like this to build these courses and really get the next wave of people in there. So big supporters of the channel. Shout out to Caleb and Brown. We had a great dinner. They took Ben out for his birthday. Mexican, and then a nice whiskey bar as well. Next up in the morning, we were going out for breakfast with the CEO of Blockchain Australia, Bitcoin Australia, Adam, who is now the Director for Digital Transformation in Tasmania, Adrian, who is the CEO of Huobi in Australia. So all these people want to get that next wave of innovation, but public awareness. How do we lobby government? How do we change tax laws if they're inappropriate? How do we get better conditions for startups? Keep innovation here. Get public awareness and people into crypto and realizing that Bitcoin isn't this big scary thing, a scam or so on. So it's great to get smart minds together. I love those little meetings. I can't say too much just yet, but there's certainly going to be a lot happening in this space. Next up, we're over to Kanya, a project that was one of the earliest to ICO in Australia. And look, their token price has taken a bit of a beating, but so have a lot of projects. They've got a working product, and it's these projects that survive the bear market, that have a working product, that are going to do well in the future. And there's estimates that the freelance economy is going to be anywhere from 20% to 50% of the workforce. And a lot of these companies, TaskRabbit, whatever it may be, take a 20% fee for finding your job. So if we can make this task economy, gig economy, peer-to-peer with, you know, only 1% fees on the platform. That's going to be huge going forward. So they've got that minimum viable product. They're going to continue to you know, build that out, and we will have the Canyu guys on the channel again in the future. So a pretty hectic tour. As I tweeted, I think here, I do love the city and going to all these meetings, but get me back to Tasmania, that fresh air and tranquility where I find that I can be far more creative and less stressed with the content production side of things. So I hope you've enjoyed that video, guys. Something different today. A look behind the scenes. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share these videos around, and thanks for tuning in, guys. Cheers.